If you're searching for a meaningful spiritual experience, look no further than St. Anthony's Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. Join us at 43 Holton Street in between Soldiers Field Road and the Mass Pike. Immerse yourself in the complete St. Anthony's Parish encounter through our 10 o'clock a.m. chanted Mass. Whether you're a Catholic seeking a parish to call home or someone looking for spiritual guidance, our welcoming community is here for you. Visit our website at www.stanthonyalston.org for more information. St. Anthony's Parish, where faith finds a home. Welcome to the Voice of St. Anthony Parish from Allston, Massachusetts, right here on WROL 950 AM 100.3 FM. And you can also hear us at CatholicAudiomedia.com. That's CatholicAudiomedia.com. And we are here every single Monday through Friday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then the program drops at your favorite podcast platform. Just look for Catholic Audio Media in your search engine, and you'll see us as St. Anthony, the Voice of St. Anthony Parish, with my logo that is there. You may have to scroll a bit. And on Spotify, Catholic Audio Media, 3 words, whereas the others, Catholic Audio Media, 1 word. Well, we're continuing looking at parts of Harrison Butker's commencement address, which again has had a tremendous amount of criticism in a lot of ways, and a lot of the criticism, it doesn't come from a context within the church, so I don't really listen to it. But there is other criticism that you see that I'm addressing some of the things that he said in a way that maybe it could have been expressed in a different way. And one of the things we're going to look at right now is what he said about bishops during the pandemic. Again, let's take a look at it and see what he said and how best it should have been understood.
As we saw during the pandemic, too many bishops were not leaders at all. They were motivated by fear of being sued, fear of being removed, fear of being disliked. They showed by their actions, intentional or unintentional, that the sacraments don't actually matter. Because of this, countless people died alone without access to the sacraments, and it's a tragedy we must never forget. As Catholics, we can look to so many examples of heroic shepherds who gave their lives for their people, and ultimately, the church. We cannot buy into the lie that the things we experienced during COVID were appropriate. Over the centuries, there have been great wars, great famines, and yes, even great diseases, all that came with a level of lethality and danger. But in each of those examples, church leaders leaned into their vocations and ensured that their people received the sacraments.
This is a very unfair characterization. It's unfair characterization right across the board. First of all, here in the Archdiocese of Boston, the bishops worked, actually I think in Massachusetts, the bishops worked with the governor to make sure the churches could stay open but within the context of social distancing and diminished capacity and everything else. So they wanted to set it up so that you didn't have people combined together because no one understood the virus. No one, there were many people who said, well, this whole virus, what they call it, the plandemic, whatever. But you had to work with the information you had. We can look back and say, well, people were definitely overreacting, fine. But at the time, you had to work with the information that you had, and parishioners were dying of COVID. People would call me and say, obviously from a different location, someone died of COVID. And usually the death was extremely difficult. Because what happened was that maybe a person would be put, like, I think upside down or something, and in a induced coma and stuff. It was a horrible experience for the person. So you never wanted that to happen. So the bishops were working with the information they had, and they were working with the state. And I said, here in Massachusetts, churches were allowed to stay open within the context of social distancing and everything else. I don't know about other states. So that's a very unfair characterization. Further, the Archdiocese of Boston, and I'm sure the other dioceses, had a team of priests who would go in and give the anointing, and they had to live in a special house so that they wouldn't spread the virus to any of their parishioners. So that was something that happened as well. And so, yes, to make sure that people got the sacraments. In the early days of the pandemic, this is before a lot of the restrictions happened, but I think it was during the lockdowns, I got called up to a hospital, and obviously this happened several times, but I got called up to a hospital to give someone who had COVID the anointing, and they gave me the gloves, they gave me the gown, the hat, the mask, the whole bit, and to give the person the anointing. And one of the things that I said is, does this mean I've been exposed to the virus? And they said, no, when you had all this protection, you weren't exposed to the virus. So none of this was a fair characterization. People were given the sacraments, and these things did happen. So it wasn't at all a fair characterization. So I thought I'd share that. And, I don't know how other states did with it, but the whole concept, the sacraments weren't important, was not fair. Cardinal O'Malley has really praised the sacrament of the sick, as well as the people who were on the team who gave the sacrament to those who had COVID. And so Cardinal O'Malley did that. And he always supports the sacrament of the sick. So that is an extremely unfair characterization. He also talked about their fear of being sued. And actually what's happening is bishops are being advised by lawyers. Well, the lawsuit issue is pretty serious. There are groups that want to bankrupt the church to put it out of business. So that fear of being sued falls under the, how do you best put it? Be as gentle as doves, but as wise as serpents. And he doesn't address that at all. For example, I believe it's Alabama or one of the southern states. There is a judge there in a bankruptcy trial of one of the dioceses who wants to make it that as part of the bankruptcy decision that priests who have been accused but there was no substance to the accusation can no longer be paid. This is part of a movement to reverse, you are innocent until proven guilty. It's happened in several places. There was a district attorney who wanted to set up a system where all you had to do was accuse a priest and he would have to register as a sex offender. The reason why that's important, many people say, well, who cares? We don't care about the priest. No, that's the beginning of the concept of changing your innocent until proven guilty to you are guilty and you have to prove your innocence, which is the foundation of a banana republic. So these are real serious issues that the bishops are dealing with, and they may not be fully aware, but anyone such as myself who was a veteran, and I remember speaking to a guy in Tennessee one time, and I never thought of it that way. He says, yes, I swore to defend the Constitution against enemies, foreign and domestic. He says, I never unswore to defend the Constitution. And of course, I was in the Navy, so obviously I also swore to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I too never unswore. The first time I realized, I said, oh wow, I never unswore to defend the Constitution. And one of the things that people are doing and they're working through the church, is to set up a system where you're guilty until proven innocent. And that is the beginning of a banana republic, and that has extended to others. So yeah, there were some very real concepts in there. And this is one of the things that he doesn't bring out. He attacks the bishops, but doesn't do anything about saying, now that you are whatever, you are graduating from this college, you can give your expertise to help people understand how we best can serve our church and our country. And he doesn't say that. It's just very critical, and it's an unfair criticism against the bishops. And I can add to that in a different level. There are stories of lawyers who if they accuse someone, doctors, priests, whoever, if they accuse someone and the person commits suicide, basically they're happy. And I'm not exaggerating, because they say that's an admission of guilt. And that means that they essentially win their case. Some of these lawyers will say there is no assumption of presumption of innocence is the way it's put. Presumption of innocence in a civil trial. And this is all part of, yes, the bishops have to look at this whole picture and the way there's a tremendous amount of evil trying to silence the church. And of course, that evil is from the outside and from the inside. I'm not saying anything radical. That's been said for 2,000 years. And sometimes the bishops who are not malicious can be very naive. But you have to be gentle as doves and wise as serpents. And you have to do everything within the context of true justice. I can say this, one of the things that really bothers me is all these people saying we're going to stand there for the victims. And yet the victims' settlements are taxed. Why? They absolutely shouldn't be taxed. The lawyer walks away with 40% of the settlement. If there's a settlement for $100 million with 100 victims, the lawyer walks away with $40 million and the victims walk away with about $600,000, which is then taxed. Why is that allowed to happen? That's ridiculous. The government shouldn't be a party to this at all. So as you can see, the concept of lawyers is very serious, and this was a very unfair evaluation by Harrison Butker. I want to call your attention to Catholic TV, which offers great faith-filled, family-friendly programming 24 hours a day. You can find your cable channel at www.getcatholictv.com, and you can watch online on the free apps or check out the YouTube channel. Daily Mass, Rosaries, the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and the Our Lady of Perpetual Help Novena are all available online and on demand. Check out CatholicTV.com. If you're searching for a meaningful spiritual experience, look no further than St. Anthony's Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. Join us at 43 Holton Street in between Soldiers Field Road and the Mass Pike. Immerse yourself in the complete St. Anthony's Parish encounter through our 10 o'clock a.m. chanted Mass. Whether you're a Catholic seeking a parish to call home or someone looking for spiritual guidance, our welcoming community is here for you. Visit our website at www.stanthonyalston.org for more information. St. Anthony's Parish, where faith finds a home.